You're going to hold the phone there the whole time?
I'm going to hold it for now.
All right, well, this is my first official podcast coming to you from a car on FL 91. I'm actually doing it because I was listening to a Stone Cold podcast. Shout out to Stone Cold.
Give me a hell yeah!
So I wanted to tell everybody about my experience as an extra in the new Baywatch film. And I figured I'd bring someone in with me for a little witty banter back and forth about our experience. You all may know my friend Ryan Barber.
Happy to be here.
Hey, ladies.
Actually, I have no choice in the matter.
So, it all started when I was bored. No, actually, my friend sent me a link telling me I should try out to be this extra, and it was all the way down in Miami. I didn't want to do it, but what the hell? I send them a couple pictures. Next thing you know, I'm getting emails about going down there. I try to get Ryan to come. He wants to be part of it. We both end up getting emails. We both go.
Well, that's not exactly how it went down. So let's kind of reverse back, because this part of the story is interesting, right? So Ant gets an email back confirming that he's actually cast to be an extra in the Baywatch film. And I think that's great. I'm really excited for him, and I'm encouraging him to go. It's understandably so that he wouldn't want to make this trip to Miami alone, and so he's asked me to go with him, right? And he justifies it accordingly. Do you want to add to that?
Well...
No, okay, so he justifies the reasons as to why I ought to accompany him to Miami. And mind you, I very much want to be a part of this project as well, but I didn't get cast. And so I want to be a part of it, but only if it's legit. And my concern is if we make the trip down to South Florida together and I'm not able to be a part of the project, what then am I going to do? Now, mind you, Anthony and I are two very persuasive individuals. In fact, we did sneak backstage at WrestleMania 30 in New Orleans.
Had to throw that in there.
And yet, I'm not 100% positive that I can just talk my way into a film set. So
onto a major film set.
yeah, right. So I had some reservations about going down there. But as it turns out, the night before Anthony has plans to drive down, I did receive a text message. And through that text message, I was able to request that the casting agency cast both Anthony and I for the same shoot on the 3rd, which was yesterday, but it was the day after we received the text and then confirmation email. So this happens at like 8:30 p.m. In order to make it to a 5 p.m. casting call, we literally have to leave at what?
I wanted to leave at 7. We didn't leave till 8:30. While we're on the road, we get another email telling us that the casting call has been moved forward to 4:30 p.m. Of course. So now I'm driving like a bat out of hell. We still have to get a hotel. I'm texting and driving. I'm texting a friend trying to get us a hotel. I'm texting 3 different people. 3 different hotel chains. Well, we ended up getting there on time, got the hotel.
Yeah, shout out to Carrie for hooking up the hotel. Fantastic job. Shout out to Anthony. He literally is Ricky Bobby swerving on him. Jason Weaver bobbing and weaving through traffic. So we get there, we check into the hotel, we change clothes.
Change clothes really fast. We get ready. I put my best outfit on because, we can't give a lot away about the scene, but it's a party scene, and we're supposed to be pretty wealthy, kind of snobby, wealthy, whatever, high class.
Upscale, yeah.
Upscale. So I put my nicest little outfit on that kind of suits me. He's got his outfit on, and we leave the hotel.
So we have to drive to where the cast is supposed to park, and then they shuttle us to the set. And we arrive, and it's a big tent, and we check in, and they give us paperwork, and we are, first day on set, whereas many of the extras who are present with us have been there for 2 or 3 days. So there's some cliques going on, a lot of camaraderie. Do you want to tell them about the older guys that we sat with initially?
One guy looked like a retired magician. This guy's name was like Paul Diamond or something. You're sitting across from me. Then you got the old Jewish guy from New York, and he's complaining about everything under the sun. He's complaining there's no dessert for the crew. He's not even part of the crew. He's complaining for the crew because he ran out of complaints for himself. And I gotta admit, it's right off the bat, it's already not what I expect. It's already a circus, and it just ironic that we're under a fucking big top tent. Basically, what it was a circus. So now we're just chilling. We're in there. We got our paperwork. We're signing papers. We're sitting at the table. We just happen to sit at the old man table. It's like.
But there was one cool dude who had shades on. He was a brother. He was there. He was swagged out. In fact, at one point, he starts talking about the Whispers. And so my ears perk up because my brother's stepfather happens to be one of the Whispers. And so anytime they're mentioned in conversation, I ask, are you talking about the Whispers? And so that was pretty funny. And of course, he calls Anthony and I out. He's like, what you guys sing? What you know about the Whispers?
This guy was cool until he said that. It was just a little brash, I guess.
Anyway.
But
so tell him about some. Okay, mind you, we were cast for a South Florida high-end, super sexy. That was the description in the casting sheet, like nightclub type party scene. And once more, we can't disclose any information pertaining to what we might have experienced on set, as we sign waivers suggesting that we can't post any photos, we can't talk about plot twists, characters.
literally, Paramount could file a lawsuit against little old us.
Little old me, man. So obviously, anybody that does any kind of research will know who's in the movie, and we'll talk about some of the stars that we may or may not have seen. But we can't talk about any specifics. But saying that we were in a party scene, I don't think violates that. And so, mind you, in your mind, if you envision a South Florida high-end, super sexy club-type party scene, you're probably thinking about some super attractive people, as were we. However, it just looks like a shit show. I mean, we were the top 10 percentile, and I was hoping that when I walked in, I was going to be the ugly one in the room. But... Well, 9 times...
yeah, because 9 times out of 10, it was old people.
No, listen, I thought it was cool because there was a diverse crowd, but not to say that there were unattractive people there, but there were some people who were just questionable, right?
No. Some people came off the street. You had the person that was a professional extra. Like, this is what they did with their life. They knew everybody in the biz. They knew the guy taking out the trash. Like,
which was cool. I mean, if that's your life.
You had the guys that thought they were bigger than they were, when it's like, bro, calm down, you're just an extra.
Right, we're all in this together, player. You have a movie coming out that we don't know about, bro? I thought we were all... Did we get on the shuttle bus together?
Yeah, I just saw you get out of a 1994 Toyota Corolla, and now you're dressed in...
We rolled up in a Corolla, though.
Oh, yeah. No, this is a Camry.
Oh, my bad.
This is a 2014 Camry, player. Let's slowly roll.
Shout out to Toyota.
Now we take this is a break for our advertising. Shout out to Toyota.
Anyway, go ahead, man.
So, long story short, on the people, it's a diverse group, but if there's 175 of us, I would say only 20 of us belong there.
175 extras, mind you. That is a lot of people as extras.
And let's also keep in mind that I only did it because I was thinking I was one of maybe 30 that was going to be in this party scene in a club, but it didn't turn out that way. So I'm not giving away anything.
Yeah.
And it was not what I expected.
So a diverse crowd, you do have a lot of attractive people, and because they're putting us in club attire, if you will, you have a lot of women wearing some very scantily clothed outfits. I mean, right? I mean, a lot of scant.
Yeah, well, a lot of them showed up with their clothes on, and then when they went into wardrobe, they came out with...
So tell them about your experience in wardrobe.
Okay. So I get dressed at the hotel, and I'm feeling pretty good about myself. I got this blue button-down, kind of South Florida look, white polka dots. and it looks pretty legit. Tailored pants, brown shoes. I went with the no sock look. I mean, that just puts it over the top, right?
Very Miami. I liked it.
So, about 45 minutes after sitting there, one of the, assistants comes out. He yells, "If you haven't seen wardrobe, go see wardrobe." I'm thinking, damn, I already look good. Why do I need to go see wardrobe? But everybody has to go.
Yeah, they have to confirm your outfit because they don't want any color clashes. They want to make sure you're going to look right on screen for the camera. It's a whole science behind it.
So I walk in and, we're supposed to bring a couple options. So I have my options with me for backup just in case, which I like the other options I have. But we walk in and I think Ryan goes first and she kind of talks for him for a second. He's trying on things. And she goes, "Let me look at what you got." And she looks me up and down. She goes, "I actually love what you're wearing. But let me get you in this other shirt I got over here." I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Basically, I went from a tailored fitted shirt to a shirt that was a little too big, but it was decent. I mean, you saw it.
I liked it, actually. I liked Anthony's look after the costume designer or the point person suggested that he put on this other shirt. My experience was a little bit different, right? Knowing kind of ahead of time what to expect, I went in with two look concepts, but I suggested to the woman what I ought to wear rather than her tell me, because I had a sense as to what I felt comfortable in. And so, my approach to it was I brought the blue. This is my first look, but I also brought the maroon. If you'd like to see me in this, I could try this on, and with the jacket, and that might look good. She's like, "Yeah, try that on for me." And of course, that's what I went with. But Ant's experience was just a bit funnier.
My whole vibe was changed up. When I came out of that wardrobe curtain, I felt like 2 inches tall. And that was because the shirt was so big.
But it looked good, man. And like I told Ann, I was like, now you're just in costume. Now you have a role to play.
Character. Now I'm a douchebag. I'm a character. Now I'm fitting in with everybody else.
So now we're ready to go. Basically, they collect all of the extras. We're still in the tent. They gather us up, and we're gonna walk to set. It's about a 5 to 10 minute walk to set. And when we get there, they put us in what's called holding, right? And holding is where you go before you actually walk on to the scene. And so we're in holding, and we're there for what? 10, 5?
Yeah, 10 minutes probably, yeah.
All right. So tell them about what happens next. So after holding happens, they walk us to set. And what
after we made the long trek to holding, you're saying?
Yeah, start.
So now we're in holding. They put us on set. I can't really say anything about the set. But
no,
I can't say where we're at on the set. Yeah. I can't say what kind of set it is.
It was legit, though.
Yeah, it was legit. But after they started filming this one part, we're kind of raised on this part. So I'm thinking, we're good. But one of the ADs is standing right in front of us while they're rolling.
AD is assistant directors, for those that don't know.
So I'm thinking, if he's standing right here, why are we even in the shot? Because obviously he's not being seen, so we're not being seen if he's still in the shot. So I'm like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, so during this part of filming, as we're background extras, we're amongst a large group of other extras, and the AD is, in fact, within our proximity. And so the likelihood is that we're not going to be seen on camera for this particular, part of the scene, as you don't see crew when you're watching a movie. So what's the likelihood?
So this is my first time, and I'm thinking, come on, I got to get on screen. I got to do something. Hope this isn't it.
Now, mind you, at this moment, as we've now walked on the official set, as their official, there are no stars, there are no celebrities currently present. Am I right?
No, there are no celebrities currently present, and it went on like that for about an hour, and we were thinking, no way, we just drove 6.5 hours to come stand around 175 losers.
Oh, that's not nice. But
well, we're one of them. We're one of the losers.
But I convey Ant's sentiment. I too would have felt as though, while I wanted the experience of being on another film set, if I didn't have the opportunity to at least see one of the stars in this movie, I was going to be very disappointed. And I felt really bad for Ant, particularly as this is his first major. So they're not out there yet. We're on. Hit him with the next hit.
So I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get on screen, and we're standing on stage, and now it's just a thing. I'm almost not wanting to do it anymore, to be honest with you. And it's cool. We're on an official set. There's the director's there. The cameras are there. Their stunt doubles are there. Their stand-ins are there. Everything's legit. And then all of a sudden, like, something changed. My stomach, like, I had a little knot in my stomach, and I felt like this presence over my right shoulder. And Ryan's standing in front of me, and he's kind of looking, and I think he saw him first. And then it made me look. In comes The Rock.
If you smell what The Rock is cooking.
Yeah. In comes The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. He comes in, he's got his, medic, whatever, Baywatch outfit on. And it's just a vibe. Like, he's just A-lister, man. He's an A-lister.
It was a very commanding presence. And I will say that Ant and I didn't fanboy out. Like, we didn't like, oh my God, that's The Rock. But when we saw him, it's like, holy shit.
We gave each other the nod, like, shit just got real.
Yeah.
It just got real. Now
it's all worth it, baby.
I'm going to be the best extra I can be.
The best goddamn extra we ever been.
What would Rock do?
Exactly.
So he walks in, but he's probably about 75 feet to our right, and we're still in our official positions.
Yeah, we're at 1, okay? All extras back to 1.
But we're perking up a little bit now because, okay, here we go. A celebrity's on set. Rock 75 feet from us.
And there's a new energy. It's like a whole new thing.
There's a new energy. Okay. Not too long after that, I look over. There's our boy, Zac Efron.
It was almost as if he just appeared. Like, he was just, like, in his spot. And I was like, damn, has he been there the whole time? I didn't even see him come out.
And it's kind of because they had these cabanas.
Oh, yeah.
They had these cabanas for the stars, but obviously, we're not going into cabanas.
Yeah, right.
But that's where they were hanging out in between takes and whatnot. And Zac Efron and The Rock are there. So now things are picking up again.
Business just picked up.
It's all part of the scene. And
all right, so without going into detail about what the scene is or who exactly is involved, and we've mentioned Zach and Dwayne doing their thing, talk about the young lady who was brought into, like, the main focal point of the shot, but was not the right chick, and how that went down.
Oh, my God. So we need to talk about the probably assistant ADs. These two out of three of them were on power trips. One was just trying to get work done. I can tell in his off time he wasn't really a bad guy, but he's cursing a lot. He looks stressed out. Then you got the nice one. Then you got the douchebag. Like, I don't know. I don't want to say his name or anything. I don't even want to tell you what he looks like, but he's just like on a power trip.
Dude, in all fairness, dude was a real jerk, and he didn't need to be. And part of the complication in managing a bunch of extras, and there were a lot of us, is that, it's like herding sheep or what have you, but also having so many assistants is like there's a lot of chefs in the kitchen, and so everybody wants to, do their part, and like, you stand here, no, wait, you move over here, and so you're getting moved around constantly by different people, and then they're getting mad at you because the first person that told you to stand somewhere is now not where you're standing because someone else told you not to. So it's frustrating, but back to Ant's point about the jerk.
So the jerk guy, we were paused for about 10-15 minutes just standing there. I guess they were waiting on a girl that was going to be a main focal point, a part of one of the scenes. So this tall blonde bombshell walks in. I wouldn't say she was a dime, but she was pretty hot. She walks in, she gets to the part of where she's supposed to be, and the jerk guy's like, what? He's like, this is so first of all, he's trying to say anticlimactic.
Yep.
But he says anticlimactic. And he keeps saying it. This is so anticlimactic. This isn't the girl. This
anticlimactic, man. This is anticlimactic. It was
This is not the girl that I was talking about. Who is this girl? Like, she needs to go. Like, she has to get off.
And so he has this poor girl dismissed
in front of the cast, the crew,
the director,
extras, everybody. And this girl was called in. They made her change into this outfit, put heels on, redo her makeup.
Let's talk about that for a second. So imagine, if you will, probably in heels, what was she, like 6'5"?
She was a pretty tall girl.
All right.
Yeah.
So she walks out in heels wearing gold sequence booty shorts and a very small black number up top. I mean, you're not even looking at what she's wearing up top, frankly, because she had booty, right, Candid?
She had booty.
So she's out here prancing. I never really got a strong look at her face, poor thing, because she walked by me and I only saw the back of her, and that's really all I was looking at anyway. But when she walks to the front where she's supposed to be, this jerk is like, oh, this isn't the girl.
The girl we had yesterday was way better.
Oh,
This girl doesn't even have the boobs that the girl had.
oh, poor baby. So she was dismissed and put to the back of the lot with the rest of us.
And we talk about this one because, this was a good-looking girl. But this happened 3 or 4 times throughout the night. In one of the scenes, there's rows of people, and there was older guys that were there for some reason as the extras that kept creeping to the front, and then the director would stop, and then you could tell he had somebody go over there and grab one of the older guys and be like, hey, hey. And they wouldn't bullshit. They weren't beating around the bush. They're like, hey, man, to the back. Like, you got to go to the back. You can't be up front. And these poor guys were like head down, like trying to play it cool, but...
So on the other side of the spectrum, you have a young couple who are fairly, reasonably attractive people, right? And they've come out, I think this is their first night on set also, and so they really want to get camera time, you can tell. And so they push to the front, but mind you, this scene has been shot over the period of like 2 or 3 days.
No, they don't push to the front of where the extras are at. They push to the front to where the actual actors are at. Like, the actual acting scene, like, they're not in the background. Now they're in the scene.
The foreground.
They literally, we got there as extras. They were late as extras, and then they come in, and they, like, you can tell they're a couple. They're there together. Like, they're going to do what they have to do. And they just decide to say, you know what, fuck it. We're going out there. And you could see all the assistant directors and everybody just kind of look at each other. They don't even bother to get on the walkie-talkies. And they kind of look at each other, and then they were out there for maybe 10 seconds before they were embarrassed. Like, get the hell out of here.
Get your ass off the goddamn...
Get out of here. And then they just kind of felt stupid the rest of the night.
So that was pretty funny. And what happens is typically when this was a larger scene, I would say, because again, there were so many people, the venue itself was kind of big, and there were different aspects of the scene within itself. So without going into detail, that's really all I'll say about that. So what'll happen is we'll shoot the scene from various angles, and because the venue is so large, they'll move the extras to populate other areas to give the impression that this entire place is populated, when in fact only a quarter of it might have people there, right? So that's kind of how it works on the back end. So we get moved to another part of the scene as the camera's been shifted, and they're going to shoot like a closer up of the talent, if you will. And tell them about your experience as to how you were moved into a part and then what happens next.
All right, you're talking about when I was moved over by the bar area?
Yeah, so tell me what happens before we start filming, because I want people to know what your takeaway from all this was and why it was as special as it was. So when we get moved to this area, where are you and in what proximity?
Oh, God. First of all, we get moved to this area, and I said earlier we were about 75 feet from the rock. Well, now we're 10 feet from the rock, if not even closer. We're at the point to where the rock is talking to possibly the creator of Baywatch and his wife or something, and we're at the point where I can hear every word he's saying. I can hear their conversation. He's all being very nice, very cordial, very inviting to them. He's taking pictures with them. It's all going down pretty surreal.
So he says it might be the creators because these guys have like the OG Baywatch jackets on. The Rock is like holding like one of the original books of Baywatch, I think. It's like, you can tell like this is like some kind of special moment happening, and the gentlemen are older, and so it seems like they have something to do with like the brand of Baywatch, because again, they not that they looked official, but their gear was like OG Baywatch official. Like it wasn't the new Baywatch. But yeah, so talk a little bit more about that, because you're standing like right there, bro.
Well, side note, I thought about coming out with the ghetto Baywatch, but it was Bay. B-A-E, watch. Baywatch. But that's just a whole other story. But The Rock, man, he's just a good-looking guy. His smile.
Handsome, boy.
And, he might not be as big as you think he is. He's probably 6'2", 6'3". And for this movie, I think he slimmed down because, you're a medic or a lifeguard or whatever. You're not going to be some bulky, jacked, hammerhead. And he slimmed down, but he just has that presence.
He got that golden smile, boy.
Smile. It just...
Smile.
I tell you. So, Yeah, so I'm standing there next to the rock, and this was a good... Now we're just not doing anything. We're just standing there. And this was probably 30 minutes of me just listening to him talk, being...
A foot away.
Foot away from him. You know, I'm looking at him every once in a while, but I don't want to be that guy. No. So I'm still talking to the other extras, and we're hanging out.
So time out. Because we talked about this several times on set. I mentioned earlier that Ant and I didn't really fanboy out, right? We talked about this on the way down. We're going to be real professional. If The Rock walks out, we're just going to acknowledge it and just be like, cool, we're on set with The Rock, doing our thing. But nobody, that was the surprising, like none of the females, and you would think, I mean, he's The Rock.
I would have thought at least a couple of gasp, like, ooh, The Rock, or like, you know, maybe not anybody go crazy and security have to come in, but I would have thought like a lot of chitter chatter and girls looking over. But what me and Ryan didn't take into account until right now is most of these people were there for 3 days in a row already. So it wasn't their first time. We were there for the first time.
Thank God nobody told us that, oh, he came over and we did a meet and greet 2 days ago, because we would have flipped out and did our own meet and greet.
He took pictures with everybody and fucking had ice cream. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's another side note. Every time I went to go get food, like I had little snacks, but the food they had for us, every time I went, when we first were in the tent, I went outside to get hot dog and chicken, and chicken's obviously the best thing you can get. We go to open up the pan, last piece of chicken was taken. All right, I'm all right. I got a couple hot dogs in me. Let's not talk about the buns.
Hey, bro. First of all, they don't feed extras the same way that they feed the crew, and certainly not like the cast, and that's understandable. Hey, between you and me, man, the food on this set was better than my experiences in the past, so I'm not talking any shit, but the buns were hella crunchy.
Bro,
I think you chipped the tooth,
no,
bro.
those buns were like rice patties. I can't even... Those buns were so fucking hard. I had to take... But one side was decent.
Yeah.
So I took 2 buns, and I took both of the one sides, and I put them together. So we were good for one hot dog.
It's a 2 for 1.
So then later in that night, there's a freaking tray of what looks like Publix chicken tenders to me. We're talking about a whole tray, not a platter, a tray.
A tray.
And I'm seeing people with
plates, just
people that were sad 5 minutes ago, now they're gleeful.
Oh. Well, so we had been look, we were on set for more than 8.5 hours, right? I mean, we checked in at 4:30. We didn't leave set till 1:30. Do the math. So by the time we get back to holding at the end of the night, we didn't eat. We really didn't drink. Nobody seemed to go to the bathroom for all that time, which was crazy. But we get back at the very end, and this was a shock to me. I didn't know that there was going to be food in holding, and so I was wondering why people were rushing back so fast. But so we get there,
and he's thinking, "Man, I'm not going to eat, man. I'm just tired. I want to go." I'm thinking I'm going to eat.
Yeah, I'm thinking he's going to eat.
So I head to the front. Let's get this chicken on. A couple people in line. All right, this person's taking a couple chickens. That person's taking a couple chickens. I'm doing the math in my head now. I'm like, there's like a couple more people in me. There's only like 6 chickens left. I'm good if everybody takes one. All right, well, I'm the next one, and there's no more chicken. So no more chicken. I didn't get the chicken earlier.
Oh my God.
I just want my goddamn chicken. But that didn't go down. So I had to put that in there that was a bad experience for me, that I was hungry. Yeah. I didn't get chicken. I just had a granola bar. But now we're back to the Rock.
Yeah.
Sorry for the tangent. So now we're back to the Rock. We're all standing there. We're getting put in positions, and they were pretty unorganized, to be honest. One guy would tell us to stand there, and I'd be like, yes, I'm going to be on camera. This is it. Me and Ryan are together on camera. Couple girls next to us. Next guy comes up. Why don't you guys come stand over here? Who told you to stand there? I don't know. Yeah, stand over here. Basically, we get moved around left and right. We're just cattle at this point. We're just pretty faces. So now, all of a sudden, we're back at the very last cabana. And Ryan's back is to the last cabana, and I'm looking towards the cabana. And all of a sudden I see a head pop out, and it's Zac Efron. Probably 5 feet from me. And for like 3 seconds, I thought to myself, I'm going to go in that cabana. Like, I'm going to make out with Zac Efron. I'm going to make out with Zac Efron. His jawline... I don't know if his makeup was on point, his hair was beautiful. Like, I don't know what Vanessa Hudgens was thinking. She should still be with him. But anyways, I try to hint to Ryan. He's behind them. Ryan plays it cool and doesn't like do the whip around. Everything's good. He comes out. Now we're still getting moved around. We finally get to our spots. I end up with like the most busted chick.
That's not nice. She wasn't busted. She was just a little older.
Keeping it real, son.
She was a little older.
She wasn't. Her legs were like 21. Her face was like.
She had a body though, right?
Most girls do.
You know what I mean.
Look, at all the girls there.
All right, fair enough. She wasn't of the.
What's the definition of busted? It pertains to the face, right? Or are we just talking?
Well, I say busted face if it's just the face.
Yeah, I end up with the busted face, and part of the thing was we got to dance a little bit, act like we were having fun. She couldn't even fake dance. She was terrible.
Well, now in fairness, and again, I don't want to give too much away, but it was a party scene, club scene type of environment, and we are encouraged to act as though we're dancing.
And I'm dancing my heart out. I'm out there just.
Hey, that's feeling it. Something.
My hands are in the air, like I'm looking up.
But there's no music. It's all pantomime. And so we don't know what beat we're on. Everybody's dancing to their own drum. But Ant and this chick, they're getting down over here on the scene, and it was a funny thing.
So Ryan is actually, I'm kind of just like a filler. I'm on the edge of the screen. So if this cut actually makes the film, you'll probably be able to see the side of my face and only half of my body. But I did work my way in when they said action and we had to do what we were supposed to do. I worked my way into the shot, but we don't know. They take so many takes, there's no way we can know what's going to make the film or not. But Ryan was behind a guy with a line, and at the end of that scene, The Rock walks by Ryan. So tell him about that.
So fortunately, and I didn't do anything to request the position. It was just happenstance. In fact, Ant and I were originally positioned to be in this, in a fantastic place together, which was the idea. But because of all the chefs in the kitchen, people just got moved, and at this point, we're just hours in, and so it's easier to go with the flow than to make noise and try to sweet talk your way into something. And more than anything, I was just happy to be there, so it didn't matter that much to me. But fortunately, I was positioned for this one little part to be behind one of the characters with dialogue, and so the likelihood is that when he's giving his line, I may be behind him and you may see me for a split second or not. But The Rock, after he does what he does in the scene, he does walk by that group that I'm standing in, and so I a few times I got to be in the scene with The Rock, kind of sort of, so that was cool. And again, he's a big dude, but he's not as big as you would think he is, like in your mind, but he still has a commanding presence, and he's a hell of a professional. I have nothing but the utmost respect. Never met the man, only been in his presence and heard him speak to other people, and he seems very genuine and nice, and so real cool. If we were permitted to give a handshake and do that thing, which we weren't, and I understand, I certainly would have, and I believe strongly that he would have greeted us both really warmly, and that's all I have to say about that.
Well, let's not forget that this specific take probably went down 12 to 15 times, and after about 3 or 4 times, I noticed that when he walked by Ryan, he has to walk in between me and Ryan to get back to his initial spot. So I'm thinking to myself, at least I'm going to turn around and make eye contact with the guy. I mean, I might never be in his presence again. So he's walking by, and our eyes link up, and I just do a quick, what's up?
Head nod.
And yeah, I do a quick what's up with a head nod, kind of not really under my breath, but just a little thing. And he just calmly goes, "Hey," and just keeps on walking though. But that's all I needed.
Hey,
that made the experience.
There it is.
6.5 hour drive. The Rock said hey to me. That's all I
knows Ant, man. You seen him.
The Rock says hey.
Hey. All right. So on that note, I do want you to mention, because a lot of things happen. We'll probably miss some of the minutia, but I do want to talk about
the surprise of the night. Or
not yet. No, not yet. Before we go to the surprise of the night, and that's your surprise, not mine. I want to, because we're talking about eye contact. So earlier in the scene, and this goes back to the part of the scene we were describing for you a little while ago, there's like a part of the area where the main actor and actress of this scene walk towards us just as they have to, because we're in the back and they kind of leave the room, so to speak, right? Yeah. What happened, and this is the new CJ Perry character, or not Perry, CJ,
CJ.
I know it's C.J. Perry. Shout out to...
It's the new Pamela Anderson.
Yeah, basically. And forgive us for not knowing her name. We should have looked it up. She's super beautiful, by the way. But tell them about what happens, man.
So I don't even expect this, but we're pretty much lined up to where they have to walk off their main spot of the scene. And I think they said cut, so now I'm just like, messing around, talking to Ryan. And then I turn around, and she's right there in front of me. And I guess because I turned around and she was right there and looking at me, she's the one that looked at me and said hey to me. Now, I'm not going to say...
It was super friendly and harmless and cute, but I did witness it, and so it's not like he was making it up when he told me, but it was pretty funny how it all went down. So they walk off, and we're standing there, and so she doesn't ignore us, but she looks right at Anthony.
But to me, what made it special was, one, of course, she was beautiful.
Super fun.
And two, it's not like I don't know if I saw her talk to any extra the whole night.
Yeah, real talk.
Just the guy she had to be with, and then me.
So Ant's 2 for 2 on the Hollywood scale, right? Not that he's engaging in conversation, but they are at least, recognizing he's there and acknowledging his presence.
As an extra, this besides trying to make it big, which we'll talk about that later about how I don't want to be an extra anymore. But as an extra,
he's gonna retire.
This is the best thing you could ask for as an extra.
Getting on camera,
and slightly. Interacting with the star.
Well, I wouldn't say interacting, but noticed.
To me, I was interacting.
Yeah. In Ant's mind, I think he had a whole conversation.
I don't even know if I said anything.
No, I'm just teasing. All right, so that happened. That was another cool moment. You ready for the surprise? Hit him with that for you.
The surprise. You mean my other girl?
There you go, yeah.
So now it's way later in the night. Probably 11:30 at night.
Okay, now I'm going to pause because... Listen, we left Tallahassee super early in order to get to that 5 p.m. call time initially, right? And we had to rush because it was moved forward. I didn't sleep well all night because for whatever reason I was nervous about being down there, packing in the next morning. I had things to do at work before we left, so we're running on little to no sleep. And because of the drive, we couldn't stop to get food. And as Ant mentioned, we didn't have the chicken that we were promised.
I like to point out that I was the one that drove the whole way.
Yeah, no, Ant drove. Ant's a hell of it. He's driving now. But we didn't eat all day, and you don't eat when you're on set. And so we're going off little fuel, and I am exhausted. Anybody that knows me knows that I go to sleep usually at 9:30, and so I'm dying. It's now probably 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, and we have no idea how long this is going to run.
When we were walking to the set, you were talking about how you were starting to get tired. So now it's like 11:30, and now we're doing a scene from earlier, but it's at a different moment. And Ryan's kind of doing his thing in the back. I think he's had enough by now. But I'm like, you know what? I'm going to live it up. I'm going to try to get on every scene I can possibly get in. And I look to the left to go look back at Ryan just to see how he's doing, what he's doing back there. And then something just caught my eye in my peripherals. And it was Alexandra Daddario. For those who don't know, we're talking about the lead girl from Percy Jackson, The Rock's daughter in San Andreas. True Detective, season 1, episode 2. All you guys out there, check that out. Thank me later, for the love of God. Don't watch it in front of your girlfriends. But it's her, and she is just absolutely stunning. I mean, you got the beautiful girls that are there as extras, and then you see her, and it just puts them to shame, and it's almost like, oh, now I get it. Now I get why she's somebody, and she's just beautiful. Her eyes.
So she walks up. Now, mind you, because I am in the back, she's coming from behind because that's where I guess her place was. But I see her, and so I recognize her actually from the Percy Jackson films because I watched those, and her eyes are just as blue in person as they are in the film. Probably not as much because they're handsome, but that's what I noticed, and that's what I recalled. So I was like, damn, that girl has the bluest eyes. She looks like homegirl from Percy Jackson. I was like, that's probably her. And so Ant's doing his thing in front of me, so I'm waiting for him to turn around to kind of signal him like, yo, is this homegirl? And so when he does, he sees her before I'm even able to signal.
Hey, I got that sixth sense, son. You don't have to tell me.
All right.
So now she's on set. Now we get a second wind. Because we're pretty sure by now The Rock and Efron are gone.
Yeah,
they were there for a while, but now I guess it's her turn. She gets the call. And they start doing some scenes with her, and nothing really special to talk about on that part. But now we're doing another scene, but still with her. I'm basically placed right behind her. The camera's looking dead at me to start with, and then it kind of pans off on her.
Right, so this is her focal shot, and so she's basically the attention. And it just so happens that Anthony is positioned literally right behind her. So I'm like, fantastic. He's going to get his look in the movie. This has been a great experience.
Put it this way, I stick my arm out, I'm either touching her or going to jail.
Yeah, cease and desist.
Yeah. So, like I said, she's pretty flawless. It was kind of a fun scene. She's just standing there, and it was just a pleasant surprise for me because I have a crush on her. I mean, that's all I can say. I got to stand by her. So now we're talking.
We all got a celebrity crush. I've got mine. Olivia Munn. Shout out.
Shout out to Olivia. Olivia. So now I don't say anything to her. I don't know why I didn't say anything to her. I didn't want to, I guess. But if you count standing right behind her and being in the scene with her, 3 for 4. Efron's the only one. I mean, I made the eye contact with Efron. Gave him the nod out of the cabana.
Hey, made eye contact.
So we got Efron, we got The Rock, we got Alexandra Daddario, and then we got the new CJ, Pamela Anderson.
I'm sorry we don't know her name. That's our bad on that. You're
She
totally
looks like she's an up and coming, star, but I don't know her name. I know she's been in a couple things, but I don't know her name either. So that was one of the last scenes.
Yeah.
Then,
So we wrap about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. Walk back to holding before we have to go back to the main tent to kind of cast out. You want to talk about anything else before we make that trek?
not really. I mean, there was.
Oh, I want to mention something. So I had an experience on another film set where I had the ability to kind of see behind the curtain, and I was watching playback as the scene was being filmed. And it was amazing because I was witnessing the scene in real life with my eyes, and then I was seeing it through the screen that the camera was capturing, right? And it was like a magic trick because what I was seeing in playback was not what I was seeing in real life, and I couldn't understand, like, how is this so different? It's amazing. It's ridiculous. And so as Anthony and I, this is after his last kind of feature, they bring the camera out on a dolly, and it's still live, and so we're seeing it. They're not recording, but you can see the playback through the monitor, and it's the same experience for me because it was ridiculous how everybody looked in the lens of this camera versus how we look when we're standing there. Talk about that from your perspective.
I don't know. It just felt like when it was strolling by us, like it was an edited movie, but it was just us standing around. And basically what you see on the 4K, the new 4K movie or TVs, it was like twice as good as that, just rolling by us on this beautiful camera. And it was, and I don't even know anything about cameras and all that stuff, but I could respect
Shout out, yeah.
that camera that rolled by me. It was amazing.
Multi-million-dollar camera, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
And there was at least 4 or 5 handlers with the camera to protect it from doing what it was. And it was just cool to see, and the takeaway and all that. So,
I mean, I think there's some. We told them like our experience, but there's like detailed things we should tell them about what they hear. Like they had stand-ins. They had a guy that kind of was like The Rock, the girl, all that stuff. Efron had handlers. Daddario would go sit near a cabana, and she had a couple guys with her. One looked like a security guy that I'm pretty sure me and Ryan wanted to. We could have taken this guy out. What are there some little things that... So there's little like makeup and wardrobe ladies that walk around. Yeah. And so, for example, my belt buckle was like, I had it on pretty tight, so I had like the little flap at the end. And one of the little Asian ladies comes by and she goes, you know what? For some reason, I don't like that. I hate that. It's kind of annoying me, and I got nothing else to do. So she had these little sticker things, and she put it on the back of my belt so it would keep the belt down. So that just shows you how meticulous they are in the scene, that somebody might look on the camera and see my belt flapping. So she taped it down, essentially, and it's just a little tidbit behind the scene.
So another secret of movie magic that was kind of funny to both Ant and I, not that we hadn't experienced it before, but we had hoped that that they might be serving actual beverages. But we were using props, right? And so in our glasses were plastic ice cubes. So it gave the illusion of ice all night, but obviously it didn't melt because it was plastic. But they did look legit. I was holding it, in fact, and several times I would like go down like, damn, do I have any drink left? And no.
Yeah, all night I basically had the same drink all night.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were fake ice cubes until like the 8th take. I was shaking it around. I was like, these aren't real.
And either we were drinking hard and we had several, or it was just a really long night.
If I do make a lot of the cuts, and you could see I'm gonna have that same glass all night. Be like, this guy hasn't bought a new drink in 20 minutes.
Cheap bastard has been sipping slow.
He's not even playing a character. He's just playing himself.
He's excellent at this, though. So something else to point out. Zach's stand-in and or stunt double, because there were a lot of characters out there, look pretty close as far as, identical and whatnot. Had the same outfit. But the one thing I'll say about Zach, and I know he's a pretty guy, and I know many listening are probably going to concur with that. Just know that, like with movie magic, they have people coming around constantly, shaping hair, shaping eyebrows, adding makeup. It was impressive to me how they treated extras, even many of the females more so than the guys. But like when your hair starts to frizz when you've been outside, like they'll come around with this special spray and pat it down and make you look nice. But Zach, man, it's like cheating. If he gets a couple strands out of place, boy, there's somebody right there to make him look extra cool, man. And he is a cool guy, as I understand it.
Well, as I understand it, you were the first one to see and try to point out to me that Zach took his shirt off at one moment, and then Ryan's like trying to get my attention to go look. And I'm thinking like, what? Did a boob pop out? What's going on here? I look over and it's Zach taking his shirt off.
Okay, now in fairness, the reason for that, and I conveyed this to Anthony later, is that the dude's been working out, right? I, as somebody who's avid in the gym because I want to continue to better myself, right? I respect those that have I respect those that have nice physiques, and your boy's back was chiseled, and I was like, God damn, your boy's been working his lat raises and his shoulder presses.
I mean, Zach, I mean, what do you want from me?
Yeah, no homo and all that, but anyway, he's an attractive lad. I wish him the best. It was an experience. We did our thing. I would say that we had fun. I'm really glad that we were able to do this together. I know personally, I would have been miserable if you weren't there with me on that particular set.
I gotta be honest. I think at one point after I walked into the tent, while I was sitting there under the tent, I might have just walked out and caught an Uber. I might have caught an Uber, got back in the 2014 Toyota Camry, and just drove 6.5 hours back. That's how, like, I don't know, it just wasn't my thing. I probably will never be an extra again unless it's less than 20 people, and, maybe if I get a line or if it's very convenient, but that will never happen again. It was an experience. I enjoyed it. But one of the things I also was disappointed about was when they did the scenes where Efron had his lines and stuff, the lines were kind of weak, and it was like there was not really acting. Are these scenes that they're actually keeping, or do they already have those?
Yeah, so because we weren't on set for the first couple of days, the likelihood is that they already got their vocal takes, like the actual performance takes were probably already captured. Not to say that what we saw was subpar, but I would agree with Ant that some of what we saw was less than stellar. Like, it was almost questionable. Like,
even they got a guy to do, I'm pretty sure he was an extra, they got him to say a line, and it was a pretty significant line in that scene, and he had to say it every time. And who was this guy? Like, he wasn't saying it convincingly. It was just pretty weak.
Yeah, I agree. And again, I don't know what's going to be kept and what isn't from what we, were a part of. But I'm confident that regardless whether they take what we saw or maybe something better, when you see it on camera and you hear it back, it's going to be a totally different experience. And it just happens that way.
It's gonna be, I know I'm gonna have to watch the movie now or go pay to watch it, which I normally probably wouldn't have, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to be like, wow, that's the scene we were in. That looks amazing. They, I already knew they did this for car commercials and whatnot, but, they spray the concrete ground with it's water and some kind of chemical to make the ground look shiny and just new and nice. And They did that a few times. Just
Yeah,
little movie magic.
The extras wouldn't even move back though, so Buddy was spraying his shoe.
The extras were so worried about losing their spot in the front that the dude was just like la-di-da, spraying people down like with this chemical on their
Move or lose it, Sally.
Yeah, it was
funny.
something to see. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, that's about it, folks. We got tired, went back to the tent. Line was horrible. We had to turn our paperwork to make sure we get paid because it was a paid gig.
yeah, we are paid
Actors,
film
baby.
actors.
Paid actors. And that's about it. We got back on the shuttle bus, and that was our experience. I'm sure we missed little tidbits here and there, but all in all, that was a day in the life of an extra.
You signing off, or is that it?
I mean, this
For tuning in.
this may or may not be the first podcast of Anthony and Ryan. No,
Ants Rants?
no, it's not Ants Rants. I'm not calling it Ants Rants.
I think Ants Rants has potential. Maybe we'll
I thought
put.
about that years ago, but that ain't it.
All right.
That ain't it.
right.
That ain't it.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm happy to have been a part of this on many levels.
Just want to reiterate that we're in a car driving 85 miles per hour right now.
Yeah, man.
Darkness.
Also, we apologize for any degradation in quality as this was recorded on an iPhone, but hopefully we'll be able to clean it up in post. Extras back to 1.
All right.